I tried to think as an instructor of things that all of us would have in common no matter our age, and to put together a website that we would use as we learn it. So I figured we all had these things in common. On this first page, I'm going to ask some information about you, your favorite things, your least favorite things, a small paragraph about yourself. Then we're going to put family photos right here and some family information. And so we'll put this here because I figure you all come from a family. If that isn't something you want to disclose to me, then Donald Duck, Mickey Mouse, Goofy can all be your family today. It's not a requirement. It helps as you put together your page. Then we're going to do a hobbies page. So you're going to find pictures of your favorite hobbies. You can take them from the internet. This won't be published. You can take it from the internet of people doing the same kinds of things that are your hobbies. Then we're going to put together a UVU page, and we'll just have a UVU logo, and we'll just list your schedule in a table on this page. And then I'm assuming you all work, and if you're not working, you're going to work someday, right? So we'll either do your current job, we'll kind of do a resume. It'll kind of look like a resume on this work page, either of the leading from the jobs you have now to your future job in whatever field you're choosing. And then all of this is in class 1 and 2. We do it together, and then you perfect it, and it becomes A5. In the beginning, you're going to see a whole lot of work with no beautiful design, which is really hard to leave Photoshop and Illustrator and not have beautiful design. But you will be able to use cascading style sheets after we finish the entire website. Then I'm going to teach you how to add style, including color, changing the fonts, changing the sizes, and you'll have that opportunity at the very end. So as we do this, just let it be boring. I'd rather be boring and perfect than have lots of mistakes as we move forward. The reason that I put this HTML, the native file for any website is .html. If you're uploading images, then you're going to see JPEGs or GIFs. GIF, GIFs, they say it both ways. So you will see that. We're going to use what's called Notepad++ in our class. If you have that at home, download it. It's free. If you're on a Mac, then you're going to download Text Wrangler. That's one of my favorites. There's lots of different free ones out there. I like Text Wrangler. I believe that a Mac comes with Text Edit. I think that's what it's called. Either one of those work. You can download it for free. In our classroom, we're going to use Notepad++ to create it. Now, when we use Notepad++, it will default to try and save the image as a .txt. So if you ever see txt, run. No, just change it to a .html. And I'll show you how to do that. Your page will never open in a browser if you have it as an extension .txt. Everything about your website has to be contained in the same folder. So we're going to create, and I've already named them because this is your navigational bar right here. And we're going to put that on every one of our pages. So you can't go home and change this to job on the hobbies page because it won't link. Everything links together. So we're going to use these specific names. These are the actual names that we're going to use. If I were to open up your A5 folder, this is what I should see. I would see all of the name of the HTML, and then we're going to create an images folder, and that's where all the images will lie. So the native file for any of our websites is going to be .html as we get started. The very first page of any website is index. No matter what browser you open, it's going to go look inside this file folder, and this is the one that is the opening page. Okay, let's get started. Everyone go to your start menu and type in Notepad++, and it's not P, don't spell it out, it's the plus sign. Notepad++. Now when you go home, you will have Notepad. Notepad is downloaded with Windows. Text Edit is downloaded with Macs. So you'll already have this if you ever wanted to work on it. Notepad++ is an additional program that you can download. Okay, so here's what it looks like. The first thing I want you to do is go to View and make it word wrap. You'll be nuts if you don't do this. Word wrap. Everyone has their thumb drive in. We're going to create the folder that's going to reside all of your assets. And I know that this is in class 1 today. It's worth 10 points. And all you have to do is do these 2 pages. They got to link together. If you'll all go to your taskbar, open up your folder, go to your thumb drive. We're going to go into DGM 1110 Assets folder. Go into your number 3 Assignments, and then you have this folder called Assignments Completed. Double click. I already have an A5, right? So that's what it looks like. I want you to rename it. So you're going to right click, and I want you to call this A5 your first name, your last name website. I know you don't have this yet, but if you double click on your A5 and go inside of it, will you please add a new folder just like I have called Images? So you click on New Folder and type in the word Images. Do not capitalize the I. It's lowercase. I'm trying to make you look like a professional. And it's just IMAGES. You will today have these 2 HTML files when we're done. You'll have these completed. Okay? That's all I needed you to do for now. Inside your Images folder, this is where you'll put all the images associated with your web page. Okay, so we're going to just start right out in tagging. The first thing that we're going to put in, it's called a declaration. You're going to do a less than sign, and if you hold on to your shift key, you'll get a less than sign. You're going to do an exclamation point, and right next to that, in all caps, you're going to type doc type, lowercase HTML, and then close that bracket. This is known as a declaration. The purpose of a declaration on every page is to let whoever goes to your browser know what version of HTML you used. So when I see this declaration, I know the website was created using HTML5. Every version of HTML has its own declaration. Okay? This identifies HTML5. Yes, you will put this on every page. A declaration is different than a tag. It is not turned on, it's not turned off. It's just the very first thing on line number 1. Go ahead and press enter. Now we're going to create what I call the bare bones of every page. In order for any page to work, it requires these tags. I'm going to use the word nested. If I were doing a mathematical equation and I wanted to add before I did the multiplication, and it were in parentheses, right? We call that nesting, surrounding them. That's exactly what happens with HTML. There are some tags that are nested inside of the other tags. If you reverse them, then they are not operational. They won't work. So here's the first tag. We're going to do HTML. It's always lowercase. It works if you do uppercase, but you look like you don't know what you're doing because nobody does uppercase anymore. But we did in the beginning, but not anymore. Go ahead and press enter. You're on line number 3. That's just a reference point to talk to each other about it in Notepad++. The second set, this is the nested part. It starts with a header, and nested inside the header is a title. Okay? And then I'm going to close the title. I'm going to close the header. That is what we call nested. See how title, opening and closing, is nested inside the header tag. Okay, I'm going to put the bare bones on the page so that you know what every page must contain. Then you press enter, put in the body tag, press enter, close the body tag, press enter, close the HTML tag. every page would require every one of those codes. Okay, now go up between the title, and we're actually going to start your first page. The first page of any website is known as the home page. The name of the file is index, lowercase. Do not capitalize the I. You'll look novice. Lowercase INDEX, okay? So this is what we'll save it in just a minute. On here, to see the difference between the header and the heading on the page, I'm going to give it just your first name. So if you'll just type your first name, homepage. So when I key in the header, do not confuse that with heading, because this is the header that will run across the top. Here's the thing when it comes to browsers. I don't know who's going to open up my new website. I have no idea what browser they're going to use. All I know is I tested my new website in every browser. They're receiving this HTML language, and they have to figure out the instructions that have been given to them based on the instructions and the way they're going to interpret it. So each browser has its own kind of interpretation. Just so you can see what header does, I'm going to take you to the browser. But first we have to save it to be able to do that. The first page is saved as what?
Index.
Oh, you were listening. Yes, index.html. So we're going to go right here, File, Save As. And what folder are you going to save it in? I don't think it recognizes this yet. But you need to go to your thumb drive. Okay, so I've gone to my thumb drive, right? Go to DGM 1110. Go to the third folder, Assignments. Completed Assignments. Double click. Remember A5, we renamed it to be your website. Yes? And here is where index is. So everyone type in index down at the bottom, and then change the format. See that TXT? You do not want that to be TXT. You want to change that to HTML, and it's alphabetized right there. Then go ahead and hit save. If you did it correctly, everyone, your tab up here should say index.html, lowercase index.html. Change the format to HTML, hypertext markup language. Okay, now you get to choose your browser. You're just going to click right here to run and choose your favorite browser. Yeah, so this is where you see your name. This is the header on the browser where it shows. But notice my page is blank, right? My page is blank because I have not typed one thing beyond the body tag. After the body tag is when text starts to lie on the page. Please leave that. So we're just going to go back to your page, and then you can just refresh the page as we add it. Okay, so we're going to go after the body tag, line number 4. Go ahead and press enter. Now we're going to start putting text. Anything after the body tag actually appears on the page that you will look at in the browser. Okay, here there is 6 headings. There's actually 6 headings. H1 is the largest. H6 is the smallest. To get a heading, the tag is H1. And here's the neat thing about Notepad++ and Text Wrangler. If you try and type in a code that is not an HTML code, it won't turn blue. If anytime you see blue, it's just in your mind, oh yeah, that worked. I have it. Most likely you have it right. And it will do the matching one and make sure it matches. Here, everyone, I'm going to make you do both your first and last name so you can see the difference between a header and a heading, okay? Make sure you turn off or close your heading number 1, or all of your text will be 36 point. Make sure that you have a / before the H1, not after. All right, go ahead and press enter. Okay, I'm going to have you type a paragraph about yourself, and usually if I say, will you type a paragraph yourself, you have nothing to say. So you do ... So I'm going to tell you what to type so that we fill up the page. As we fill up this page today, though, if I make you go on this look how big my screen is. We'll be here all day coming up with information. I don't want a novel about you. Just want to know a few things. Not that I wouldn't read it. I would absolutely read it, but not 120 times would I read it. So what we're going to do is we're going to make it indent on both sides. We're going to make it come in about 5 inches on both sides. So right underneath your name, there'll be a left and right indent, and it will have this information about you. We call, to move that in 1/2 inch at a time, a block quote. And nobody asked me, because if it were me, I would have done BQ for the name of this. Oh no, look at the name of this tag. I kid you not. Okay, we're just going to do this simple block quote. Whoops. Just type 2 of them. I like you to get in the practice of typing, even though I know you can copy and paste. Type 2, and this is notorious for those of us who hand code. You select it. I always do Control-C. You can also go up here and do Edit Copy. And you're just going to copy this until you have 10 of them, okay? 5 times I pasted. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You should all have 10 block quotes. If I have 10 block quotes as opening tags, please tell me how many closing tags I'm going to have when I'm done. 10. 10. So remember that. We're going to close the block quotes. So I'm going to ask you these questions, and I know it's really cheesy, and you could be making fun of me in your heart, but try not to do it out loud, because we have lots to do today, all right? So we're going to type in, I was born, put in your day. If you know how much you weighed, the only reason I know is because I weighed nothing. Wish that was the truth today. My parents are... Tell me where your parents are from. Okay, my next question is, I am the oldest, the youngest, the middle, the only of how many siblings, if you have them?
I am the sandwich. The middle one.
How many brothers? How many sisters? This is fun for me to get to know you. Okay, as a child, describe yourself. My favorite things I remember when I was young. And make a list. Just with commas. At least I'm getting some text, everyone. My favorite hobbies are. I know we're going to do a hobbies page, but hobbies are such a big part of who you are. As a student at UVU, I am studying. After graduating, my plans include, and then tell me what you see your future in. How many block quotes do I need again? Are they open or closed? Okay, so everyone, I just did 2. Can you see that? A / block quote, a / block quote. So you're going to just copy and paste those. And there's 10 of them, so I need 4 more. If you try and type that word and you misspell it, it won't turn it blue in Notepad++. You have to get it spelled right in order for it to work. If you'll all do a file save, it's just an update. It automatically will save in the A5 folder as index.html. Once again, if you go down to your favorite browser that's on the taskbar There's the page I opened initially, right? That was blank. Now when I refresh my page, I should see some paragraphs. Yes? And there's not really a rhyme or reason of how to code. You try to keep all the codes that go together. But it doesn't hurt if you have extra returns, but you don't want to look like you don't know what you're doing either. See all of these extra returns I have here? They are not recorded on your page. If you need a return, you physically have to put in the tag to make that happen. The separation of this is just to keep it organized for you. So that is a personal choice to be able to do that. I don't want to break yet. We're going to put in a heading number 2. Remember we put a heading number 1 up here? It's the largest font that we have is heading number 1. I don't want all of the headings going down the left to be as big as that very first one at the top. So we're going to do a heading number 2. I know for some of you are a little crazy because it's not centered. We're going to use a style sheet that's actually going to add all that formatting, so you don't have to worry about that, all right? Okay, so heading number 2 is this. You're going to put your first name and then the words favorite things. This is actually fun for me as an instructor, just to learn more about you. So I'm going to create a list of things that I want to know about you. I'm going to type the question. You're going to type the answer. Do not type my question. I'm going to ask you, what is your favorite soft drink? Don't type, what is your favorite soft drink? You're going to type Sprite, Fresca, root beer. Why am I saying this? Because yesterday I did this and everybody typed my questions. So, not everybody. The select 5. And I tried not to make fun of them. I tried really hard not to do that. So I'm going to ask the question and then you're going to fill it in. We're going to do, there's 3 types of lists. Today we're going to do 2. I'm going to tell you the 3 lists. It's unordered list. Those of you who know HTML, what does unordered mean?
Bullet points.
Bullets. Okay, I'm going to get bullets, okay? The second list is an ordered list, which is numbers, letters, okay? And the third list is a definition list. It would look like a dictionary or a glossary or something like that. Today we're just going to do an unordered list and an ordered list. So the tag for the opening tag for an unordered list is UL. And on the UL, here's the types. The default, or the one that it will be if I don't change the type, and I'm going to just put the word type here so that you know that's the attribute you'll change, is disk, or square, or circle. So this is for an unordered list. An ordered list is the default, and I'm just going to put that so you know that's the default, is Arabic 1, 2, 3. But I could do A, B, C. I could also do A, B, C lowercase. Or I could do Roman numeral, all caps, or I could do Roman numeral, lowercase. Okay? This is where the attribute comes in. You're going to try that. So instead of closing your tag, you're going to add an attribute. Hit your space bar after the UL and type in the word for an attribute. The type, we're going to, in an unordered list, we're going to change it to a square. Now here's what's neat about Notepad++. The tag is blue, the attribute is red, the value is purple, and it won't be all those colors if you try and misspell it. We'll try and fix that for you. That's what I love about Notepad++. Once again, can I ask the question, do I have to worry about turning off the attribute and the value? Right, because unordered list, when I shut this one or close this tag, it will also, it's inclusive, and it will do that for me, okay? So there is your first experience with a full tag with an attribute and a value. Attributes and values, as weird as it looks, they're all one. There's no space between them. You type in the attribute, you put the word equal, and then the value is subtracted in quotes. If you leave off the quote, there's a possibility in Chrome, it'll figure it out. In Internet Explorer, it won't. You will not see a tag, okay? And those are the things that you kind of have to deal with as you're doing it, okay? Okay, press enter. And just for visual, I like using my tab key, which you can, just to organize your codes. If you indent all of the list, every time you want a bullet, in our case a square bullet, because we changed the type, we're going to have to put in an opening tag, list item. Here is where we're going to make a list. Each item has its own set of tags, turning on the list item, turning off the list item. When I turn off the list item, it will automatically return, and each of the lines will be separated by one return. If I want more, I'd have to put in a break, but this looks pretty good for our website. So my very first question, everyone, you are going to answer, what is your favorite soft drink? And some of you don't drink pop, so just put water. It's not the end of the world if you don't have an answer. Second one, now notice I'm on line number 2 of the bullet. I have to do another list item to show the bullet, okay? Your second question is, I'm always going to talk about food, sorry. What is your favorite fast food restaurant? I have a few students that aren't from America, so that would be McDonald's, Arby's, Cafe Rio, Taco Bell, all of those. Okay, what is your favorite Sunday dinner? What is your favorite movie today? What is your favorite sitcom, TV sitcom? What is your favorite candy bar? Your favorite UVU course? No pressure. You do not have to put my class. It's usually not math, but it does not have to be my class. It does not affect your grade in any way, shape, or form. All right? Your favorite family vacation? Before we go look at the page, everyone, each list item must have an opening, closing tag. When you're finished with your entire list, you still have one more code to put in. Press enter. It should also lie at the far left. So you need to go outside of the tab and close the unordered list, which is a bullet. If you fail to do that, you're going to get an indent that I'll know it right off. I'll get an indent to the next information that we find. Unordered list, so it comes right after to put it in there. We're going to go see what this looks like, everyone. Do File, Save. Open up your favorite browser and refresh the page. This is your refresh button in case you didn't know that. You just click right here. I didn't mean to insult your intelligence if you already knew. Some people don't, though. It should just keep adding to your page. You should all see squares. If you have bigger than my list, you forgot to turn off your heading number 2. I like you kind of to make mistakes. If you do, you learn from them. You should all have a list going down. Yes? If you don't save it, it doesn't update. Yeah. It only remembers the last point that it was saved to. Okay, we're going to do the second type of list. Before we get started, we need another heading number 2. Why do I do heading number 2 and not 3?
We're still on the second heading.
Yeah, it's the same exact size. So we're going to do your name, least favorite things. This is always so silly to me, but I do learn a lot about you in your least favorite things. Make sure that you turn it off with a heading number 1, or heading number 2. If you turn off a heading, remember you have to close the heading, so it's got an open and a closed. You'll know that you didn't turn off your heading because the text underneath will be large. So when you see those kinds of things, you'll go, oh, I forgot to turn off my heading. And it doesn't matter what browser you choose, it doesn't figure that one out. If you look at the board, everyone, there's 5 different types of ordered list. Arabic is the default. So if I type in ordered list and I don't change the type, I will automatically get 1, 2, 3. If I want to change the type, I'll hit my space bar, I'll type equals, and in quotes, I'm going to put whichever the first character is, either it's a letter or a number of what I want. So if I wanted it to start with the letter lowercase a, that's what I would do. If I wanted it to be Roman numeral, which I avoid at most costs, but it would look like that, capital Roman numeral. Okay? I'm going to change this to letter A. You can choose any one that you want. It doesn't matter on this one. I'm also going to teach you that you can have multiple attributes. I can hit my space bar right here, and I can say start with 3. Now, what does that really mean? If I'm using the letter A, it means C, right? Probably not useful with A, but if I said start with a number, change this to 100, if I were working for a bank, nobody ever starts a check with 1, even though we all know that they never start with 1, which is the most ridiculous thing I've ever decided at a bank. If you see 100, you're recognizing this is their first checking account. Either they're starting over and they're dead, or 100 is the first one. But now in the check registry at the bank, it starts with the number 100. Does that make sense? 2 attributes side by side. The only thing that separates them is a space. Here's the interesting thing about attributes. There's not a correct order for attributes. What HTML language is it says, hey, here's the set of instructions. When you get to an ordered list, these are all the attributes. Make them happen. You know the order, you figure it out, you do it. So when you're putting in attributes, even though they logically kind of fit in an order when you're putting them together, it does not matter the order because the browser knows what it needs to do once it reads those instructions. Once you separate it with a space, it knows. Okay? I'm going to get rid of the start. I just wanted to introduce multiple attributes as we do it. Okay, press enter. Okay, now every time I want a letter A, list item is still what you have to do here. So you're going to have an LI. Okay? Now, yesterday, one of my students did 1. So it looked like a 1 to them when they were typing. So make sure it's the letter L, not a 1. Because on your paper, it took me forever to figure that out. Because they kind of look the same. Make sure you do list item. Any kind of tagging, they try really hard, for the most part, to make it link to a word that means something in the HTML language. Okay, so here, everyone, you're going to list your least favorite things. So, of course, we're going to go back to food. What is your least favorite soft drink? Oh, and we're going to tab this. Don't you think it looks good tabbed? It's easy to read if it's tabbed over the list items. Doesn't change the formatting on the page. It just makes it easier when you're reading the code. Now your least favorite fast food restaurant. How about if we do your least favorite course? UVU course. Give me one more, everyone. Oh, yeah, that's a good one. Your least favorite movie. You should not have questions. You should have answers, okay? After the very last closing list item, press enter. At the far left, turn off the ordered list. They always come in pairs, okay? Do a file save, or you won't see the update. Now go to your browser. So those of you who haven't done this before, don't ever close out of it. You just click down here on the taskbar and then refresh your page. Then you see it build as you do it. Yes? Okay, everyone, we're going to put the navigational bar on the bottom. Here's the names of the files. Do you all know what a pipe is? Have you used a pipe? I actually have called it a vertical bar. But here's what a pipe looks like. We're going to create this navigational bar, and this is a pipe, and then you're just going to put the words going across the bottom, okay? So that's what we're going to do next. Here's where the vertical bar is, because a lot of my students have never done this before. Before we start, you're going to put in, it's going to be a heading number 4. It's a little bit small, but it looks really good, and I make it a heading so that on my style sheet, I can tell the style with heading number 4 to be a particular way. So make it heading number 4, and then here is the vertical bar. If you hold on to your shift key, right above your enter key, you will see a vertical bar. Can you see that? What is it called, everyone?
Pipe.
A pipe. There's a pipe. Did you all get one? Hit your space bar and type in home. Lowercase, don't capitalize. It looks like a navigational bar if it's lowercase.
So where is it again? I'm so sorry.
Right above the enter key,
Oh.
hold on to your shift key.
Okay, so shift.
Okay, now hit your space bar after the E in home. Now do another vertical bar. Pipe. I'm just teasing. Pipe. Hit your space bar. And then the rest of them are in alphabetical order. Notice there's a space before the word. There's a space after the word. Then a vertical bar. And then turn off your heading number 4. Now save it. And then refresh your page. Okay, now when you refresh your page, there should be a space before and after all the vertical bars. Is there? Okay, doesn't that look kind of like a navigational bar on this cheesy website? Is anything linked here? No, right? Tell me the colors. If I go to a website, what do you think the color is as if I'm a link? What does it do to the word so that I know that it's a link?
They highlighted blue, right?
Blue
Yeah.
and underlined.
Yes.
So I try really hard not to use the underline unless it's a link. It makes me crazy when I go there and I'm clicking and it's not really a link. And they used it as an emphasis. We're all so minded on the internet to think that underline is a link. It really is destructive, I think, to assume that people wouldn't think that. If I already go to a link and I've been there, what color does it go? Purple. Good, purple. Do they have to be those colors? Oh no, they can be a million other colors. The default for that is blue is a link, a visited link is purple. You can even have your mouse on it called hover. Hover has a different color, and then you can create buttons that do anything you want. So to link something, they should have called me and asked me what this should be, because it's difficult, I think, to see it as a link when it's called something else. But it's really known as an anchor. In the early days of HTML, you would have these really long pages, and to move yourself to a particular location, they called it an anchor. So you'd set an anchor up at the top, you'd click on that word, and it'd drop to it inside the page. And that's where it gets its name, and it's stayed that way. So watch me. The only thing that I want to underline is the word. You will look like a novice if there's a little underline here. You won't mean to, because you don't really see that happening. To avoid that, what you're going to do is before you hand code the tag, you make sure that your I-beam cursor is blinking right next to the H. Now what you're going to do is we're going to put in a tag. Watch me first and then I'll do it with you. It's anchor space hypertext reference equals the name of the file. How do I know the name of the file? Because I created a thumbnail and I decided all the file names for my entire website before I even began. Therefore, there's all my names. From the minute that I start, these are the names of everything as I create them. So that when I come back tomorrow, I'm not going to call my work page job because I know that I'm going to link it to work. Okay? So you have to use these names so that we can go in and out of all these pages moving correctly. Okay? Then I'm going to move to the end, and I'm right after the E, I am going to close that tag. It's anchor is where it gets its name. But it really is a link. This hypertext reference, it either links to a actual page, which are all those pages right there, or I could link to a web address. And if I have a web address here, I must include the protocol, http://www.uvu.edu. And that would be in quotes. So my options here for hypertext reference, either a file name or a web address. And a lot of times when I do a web address, I go pick it up from up here in Perfections. So if I had a web and I wanted UVUs, why would I do that? It keeps it so that I pick this entire web. Oh, it doesn't even put the protocol.
It copies the HTML.
Lately, you don't need the protocols.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
When it goes live?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's good. They've edited that in the new.
HTML5.
Okay.
The
Okay.
HTML
If you're
no.
below. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's good to know. So you just pick up this web address, and I always go grab it from there, especially the really long ones. Okay. So once again, everyone, anchor. The attribute is hypertext reference, either a file name or a web address. And in HTML5, it sounds like we don't have to have the protocol. And then you'll close it with an anchor. Let's do family together. Go to the F. Make sure you're right next to the F. It doesn't matter that it moves because we're just putting in the tag. The opening tag is anchor. Hypertext reference equals. The name of the family page looking at the board is family.html, close quote, right after the Y. Right exactly after the Y, close the tag. Move to the H in hobbies. Except for what's the name of this one? Anchor hypertext reference equals hobbies.html closing bracket, and then close the tag. See if you can do school. See if you can do work. The name of the file is school.html, work.html. And I try really hard. I just do everything lowercase. I just keep it really simple. Make sure you include that .html. There's no such thing as a document without, you can't link to a document without an extension. Make sure at the bottom of your page you have the closing body tag and the closing HTML tag in that order. Those two are nested. You started with an HTML, you must close. That's your very last tag. Okay? Sometimes as a beginner, you think that that / is at the end. It always, the closing tag starts with a /, then the name of the tag. If you will all do a file save, and then reload your page, refresh your page, you should see your navigational bar in color. Your home page should be purple because you're on it, right? Everyone, you have done your very first page.